We began the current Daf Mesechta Sotah Daf Lamed Aleph. We begin 2/3 of the way down from the top of the Amid, where we begin the fifth parak Mi Shekine, which actually Taisus says that really this parak should have been really learned and mixed together with the first parak, after where it talks about the Masechta starts off with kinoi, with the stira, with warning and secluding, and then it talks about these are the women that are forbidden to eat truma. Then it should have taught this Mishnah, this parak, and then Ketzad, how does it happen, and the whole order of bringing the mincha and then the drinking the mesaita. But it's such an interesting thing, says Taisus, that after you talk about how the order checks her out and do the whole thing, you go back now to learning about Misha Kina Lishta regarding Kina and Stira. Taisus says interesting in that order the way it is. However, that is what we go. That's what this parak is talking about. Is back again to the halacha of kinu and stira and tuma. Just corresponds because the cheskel turned to Daf Yomi. Which I'm joining with today's daf. Something discussed in today's daf are edei stira, edei tuma. Regarding the witnesses of that she was secluded, the witnesses that she was tummy, because there's really three different components regarding the halacha of the site. You have the kinu, the warning. Then they have the stira, which is being secluded, and then you have the tuma if the actual nos actually happened. Chamaisa bas chamaisa, regarding believing the mother-in-law or the sister-in-law, the mother-in-law's daughter, regarding would we say that they would lie about what happened to make her lose her ksuba, or to regarding that she cannot drink the mesaita. The halacha of edam and nitbis or edam and loitnim is what happens if generally the halacha is, as we'll establish in today's daf, that one aid is believed to say that she was mezana and that's it, she can't drink anymore. What happens if a contradictory witness says that she was not metame? And what happens if they came at the same time, or if they came at different times? Which that relates to halacha of kamokim shemina Torah erecha darikan shnayim. Wherever the Torah believed one witness, he is like two, and the significance of that is obviously going to be if one witness disagrees with that one witness, would it be echad b'mokim shnayim, and then you wouldn't believe that second person or not? And also another related halacha is kamokim shemina Torah erecha. Wherever the Torah believes one aid, halacha acharei b'deis. You go after the majority of opinions. So although generally two witnesses is the same thing as 100 witnesses, but when we believe one aid, so then the significance of each individual is relevant. And then if you have 4 against 3, that's more important than 3 against 3, and you believe the 4 versus the 3. So begin the current Daf Lamed Aleph, the 6th parak Mi Shekine. Says the Mishnah, Mi, if there's an individual who after that Shekine le'ishtoi, after that he warned his wife, v'nistera, and she's secluded. Now, how do you know she's secluded? Even if you hear from a flying bird that she's secluded, so you have to go out, you have to give her ksuba. That's Divrei Rabbi Eliezer. What does that mean to say? So Rabbi Eliezer goes according to his reasoning that he said in the first parak, all the way in the beginning of the Masechta, Beis Beis, said that stira doesn't need edus. Even if you have an eved or a shifcha, they are believed to say, and that says Rashi, that's what it means, like a flying bird, like something very insignificant. That's okay. That's already know that she already had stira, and the way we know this is because the halacha of stira is compared to tama, which everyone's believed to say that she became tame, so therefore she becomes forbidden to him. Now, so how do you read the Mishnah? You read that if he doesn't want her to drink the mesaita, she's asa to him because lamaisa she was secluded, but he has to go ahead and give her kasuba. That's the way Rashi translates the halacha of Rebbe Eliezer, that you don't need to have this, meaning anyone can testify to the seclusion. So if a pereach, whatever, even an eved or shefcha. And then now, okay, she was seiser, so now you give her to drink the mesaita. If you don't want to give her to drink, then okay, you have to go ahead and divorce her, give the ksuba. Rabbi Shloimy, he says, until they schmooze about her, so to speak, in the coffee room. It's not the coffee room. Talmudic times they had these women that would spin thread in the marketplace to the light of the moon, and they used to schmooze about every batlanis, every suspicion in town. They would go. All that laundry would come out when they were schmoozing by the light of the moon. So, in other words, according to Yeshua, because stira that doesn't have 2 witnesses, she does not become forbidden on him. Because Yeshua goes according to his reasoning that he says in the beginning of the Masechta Daf Beis Aleph, he says mashka pishnayim, that to give her to drink, you have to have two witnesses that she's secluded. Now, however, when the women are discussing her by the light of the moon because of a pritzis, it's the words of Rashi is mechur hadab. It's disgusting because obviously this woman is ill repute because of a promiscuity. So he has to divorce her because even the water is not going to check her anymore. As the Brisa taught in the first paragraph of Avam Beis, it says in the pasuk that it's only if she's pure, then the water is going to verify that she's pure. But if everyone's talking about her by the light of the moon, then it's not going to tell us anything, and then you have to go ahead and divorce her. That's what Tais discusses. Then he has to pay her ksuba because she's not forbidden to make her adin. That's what he discusses. Why would that be? Seemingly, if the water's not going to inspect her because everyone's already schmoozing about her by the light of the moon, that's her fault, as we said regarding Arusa and Shemedes Yavam. But Akaponim, Shur says no. Stam having Oifer Perech is not enough because he doesn't hold like Rabbi Eliezer that for stira it's enough where anyone could testify. No, stira has to be al Pishnei Edim, and therefore, when you have all the women schmoozing about her, so it's Makur Hadavar, so then you have to go ahead and divorce her, and you have to give her the ksuba because the Maisa, you didn't have two witnesses that she was Saisir. Omar Eid Echad. Now, what happens if, let's say, one witness says, Ani re'isiya shenitmis. I saw that time that they were secluded, that I saw through the window, they were mezana, which, according to Rabbi Yeshua, they were secluded with two witnesses. According to Rabbi Eliezer, they were secluded even if you know only through a Eifa Periach. But be that as it may, one witness says, I saw that she became Tami. And again, it has to come through stira because that's the whole unique halacha of Sotah that you can believe one aid. You don't usually believe one aid. Yes, if there was a warning and there was a stira, how do you know there's a stira? Because you have either according to Bishur two witnesses or according to Eliezer anyone, even the evidence shevcha, whatever. And then when this comes along and says there was tuma, okay. The halacha is loy hoisa shaisa. She wasn't going to drink now anymore than Meisait because one witness is believed even to cause her to lose her ksuba because of what's called reglaim ladav. But there's indicating factors, there's flags already over here. And we learned it out from Sukkim later on in the Mishnah that we believe an Eid Echad. So she's not drinking and she's going to lose her ksuba. Not only that, even if the one who says that she was metame was a slave or a maidservant, they are believed. Even to make her lose her ksuba. So again, there's two things. She doesn't drink the Meisaita to verify, and also she doesn't take her ksuba. Kino is the asra. No, right. No, the original asra is the husband's kino. He gives her a warning. He says, I don't want you to be with that man. That's the kino. Then there's a stira, which she is in private quarters with the guy. That already makes her a suffix saita. And then when you have Eid Echad who said, I saw, then that's it. It's a done deal. Now, what happens regarding Chamoisa, her mother-in-law, the Shviger? Uvas Chamoisa, the daughter of the mother-in-law. Or Vitzarasa, her rival wife, which is that this husband has more than one wife. V'yivimta, which is her husband's brother's wife. She's also like a tzara, and she also hates her because she's afraid that ultimately, if her husband dies without any children, she's going to have yibum to her brother-in-law. So she looks already at her sister-in-law as her rival. Or uvas bala, her stepdaughter, her husband's daughter from another wife. These five women hate that woman. And the Gemara Yevamos Daf Kaf Zayin Manaf explains the reasoning why they hate her. Now, they're not believed regarding this woman for any testimony that will be bad for her. But, they're believed for her for this testimony because the Torah believes any testimony that there is regarding the woman that she was mizana, but they're not believed to make her lose her ksuba because since they hate her, so that we try to make her just lose whatever opportunity possible, it's just elishli tishta, just that she doesn't drink. For that, we believe that woman, say she was mizana. Mizana, there's no point in drinking. For that, we believe her. Now, continues the Mishnah, Shahaya Badin. This is where the source of the halacha that we believe the Eid Echad. Logic would have dictated to us that we shouldn't believe Eid Echad that the woman was metami, which again the word metami means that she was mezana, if not from a gezer zakasab. Why? Because in ma'im eidus rishayna, if the first testimony, which refers to the seclusion, she'ein oisar to Israelim, which by testifying that the woman's secluded, doesn't make the woman forbidden forever to her husband. It's only up until that she drinks the meisaita. And still in miskayemes bepachas mishnayim, that testimony is not valid less than two witnesses, as we're going to say later on from Gezer Shava, which is going like a Bishua who holds stira requires to be two edim. So edus achrayna, so the last testimony that she was metame, that she was actually did the deed, shoysal to Israel, which that makes her forbidden forever. Obviously, if a woman is mezana, she's H says she's done. Ain't a din shalei discayim bepachas mishnayim. Isn't it a kabacham? It shouldn't be valid less than two witnesses. Tamalemet, we need to have a Gezer Zaykasev. It says ve'eid ein ba. The pasuk says in Bamidbar, it says, if a man's going to lay with her a laying of semen, in isha, she's going to be hidden from her husband's eyes, she's going to be secluded, Moshe becomes tummy, ve'eid ein ba, it says, and there's no aid, which we're going to translate right now, and it says, v'hila nitfatza, she wasn't forced. So it sounds like that's the case when she becomes forbidden to her husband. Wait a second. When it says ve'eid ein ba, means kol eid sheyesh ba. That means to say that any testimony that there is that she was mezana, the person would be believed. Because the Gemara is going to explain what you have to read the pasuk is, ve'eid ein ba, the word aid means two aidim. So there's no two aidim, but rather there's only one aid. And we're saying that she was not forced, therefore means she's going to be usher. Obviously we say that eid echad is believed. That's how you read this pasuk in Bamidbar. So if that's the case, says the Gemara, now let's take the logic the other way around. Now we should actually say Kal v'chomer actually the other way. Why? As we get into Medbeis. Eidus acharayna, if the last Eidus, meaning referring to that of Tumah, the halacha is that Shoisal to Israelam, when this one aid testifies that she was mezana, she's forbidden forever to her husband, as the Gemara taught on Daf Chav and Aleph by a Sotah Daf, where it says nitma, it says it more than one time, one's labal, one's labayil, and that's for sure when she's definitely a Sotah. So she's forbidden to her husband, and it's going to be forever because we already verified that she was mezana. And still, it's valid with one witness. Okay, so Eidus HaRishayim, this is in the first testimony regarding stira, regarding testifying that she was secluded. Doesn't make her forbidden forever. That only makes her forbidden as long as she didn't drink. So then for sure we should believe even just one witness. Yeah. At the same time, you also have the warning from the husband that he warned her regarding that. There's such a nakuda. So that says the Mishnah Tamalim, you have the pasuk teaching Devarim, Kimotza ba'ervas davar. It says in the pasuk you're going to find regarding her something of a rayas, and use the word davar. Later on, it says within Devarim Apishnaim Edim Yakum Davar, based on two witnesses when you're going to establish a thing in halacha. So malahal napishnayim, just like over there when they use the word davar, it's obviously the pasuk says explicitly it's alpishnayim, it's two witnesses. Avkan here also it's alpishnayim when it says the word davar regarding the halacha of seclusion. It's also going to be based on two witnesses. You're right. You would have said a Kal v'chomer from the Tumah.
Referring to getting Misa now of
What the pasuk of Kimatza ba'ervas davar?
Yeah, meaning to say that there's no Mesa to aid him.
I'm saying it's.
Go straight to Mesa.
I'm saying it's talking about Kiyikach Ish Isha Ba'ala. It's talking about the halacha of Arayas. That the halacha of Arayas, it requires two witnesses. So that's the discussion about why do we need a pasuk? Don't you know all Arayas require a pasuk? But that's what the Mishnah is saying, that yeah, you have Gzeis HaKasif for Tumah that Eid Echad works, but I'll bring you a pasuk that regarding all other halachas of Arayas that we don't say a halacha of, let's say, kabul chaim that eid echad should work, because you have a gzeir shava of davar. Whenever it comes to halachas of arayis, which includes the stira of a saita, it needs to have two witnesses. And here's where it gets a little bit more complex, at least when the Gemara is going to discuss it, where we have contradictory testimony. So if you have eid oimer nitmis, so you have one witness who says, okay, that she became tummy. Now, you have to keep in mind, it might get confusing, the significance of eid echad oimer nitmis means to say that she doesn't drink. If one witness says she became tummy, so we know she was on, there's no point to drinking. Now, another witness says, one witness says yes, and one witness says that she did not become tummy. So really it's one against one, so they really cancel each other out. So it's like you're back to the suffix, and therefore it would be back to like drinking. So to, let's say, Isha Meres Nitmes. One woman says, oh, I saw she was Mezana. And the Isha Meres Leitmes, the other woman says that she was not Metame. So it's one against one again. So in these two cases, Haisa Shaisa. So like every suffix cited, it's a suffix. Here it's also a suffix because the two, one says yes, one says not. So they cancel each other out. So it's a suffix. So therefore, like any suffix cited, she's going to drink the May cited to verify that suffix. But let's say Echad Oimer Nitmes. Let's say one says, comes along and says, hey, I know the husband warned, I know the witnesses that she secluded, and I saw her being Mezana. But Vishnayim Oimer Nitmes. Two say, no, she was not Metame. No, Rashi explains, you can't say you didn't follow around this woman her whole life to say she wasn't Metame. What it means to say is, she wasn't Nitmis in front of you. Because when you came and you found that they were secluded together, we were with you. And in front of us, she was not Nitmis. So that removes this one aid and nullifies his words in place of the two. So really, essentially, you're back to the suffix. Because she might have been Metame before these people came and found her. But it just knocks off what you're trying to make, that you know she can't drink because there's no suffix, because for sure she was Mizana. That is taken away. And therefore, Haisa Shaisa. Therefore, she will drink. You're back to the suffix. You don't know. Maybe she was Mizana some other time. But what you're saying that she was Mizana at that time is not true, because we were with you and she was not Mizana. But it's not Hazama. If they would have said, yeah, hey, how could you, yeah, and Ashailas, do you say Hazama? Yeah. How could you say that you, right? It says that you won. This is contradicting just. It's not saying, how could you say you with us somewhere else at that time? Yeah. What would happen if it was Hazama with one aid? When you do believe Eirecha, do you say Hazama? So then you would drink. What's if, let's say, Shnaimer Nitmis? What happens if two people say that she was Mitame? The Echad Nitmis, one says she was not Mitame. So then, obviously she wouldn't drink, because two witnesses are saying that she was Mizana. You believe in place of the one. And the Gemara is going to explain, why do we need all these cases that we said in the Mishnah? But the Gemara first goes to the halacha, when you brought the source that you say you need to have two witnesses for the stira, the Gemara says, you said in the Mishnah, because it says matzah ba'ervas davar. So it says davar, there it's two witnesses. Here it's also two witnesses for the stira. Says the Gemara, ich verstehe nicht. Hi, Tamil loymar ki matzah ba'ervas davar. This that you're telling me that you learn that from the word davar, by when it talks about arayis. That for the stira you need to have two witnesses, in contrast to the tumah, which is not for one witness, even though you wanted to say a kabul chaimer. Why do you need a gzeir shava? When it says by tumah ve'eid ein ba, which teaches me that you're neman even as one witness for the tumah, talme loy ba, what's haste? It says ba. There's a miut that for her, for this is where you believe eid echad. For the tumah, not by any other testimony, which should teach me that ba v'loy bikinui, ba v'loy b'stira. And therefore, the edus of stira will be like all other edus in the Torah. That's me ba'ilei. Why do you need a special gzeira shava? To the contrary, it says v'hi nitma v'eid ein ba, and that tells us ba is in this, that when you don't need two witnesses but one is enough. But everything else like stira would require. So why do you need a special gzeira shava? The Gemara says you're right. That's really what we're saying. Tam v'loy ba. V'shteit legabe tuma ba v'loy bikinui ba v'loy b'stira. But then, what were we saying then? When when you have an eid echad that testifies regarding a woman, b'loy kina b'loy stira. Stam. The husband never warned her. He never, and she was never secluded. But one witness comes and says, "By the way, I saw your wife last night that she was matami." Deloy mehem eid echad. That we don't believe eid echad. Minalam, from where do we know that we don't believe eid echad? And we don't say, what do you mean? The Torah says regarding a woman being mazana, we believe one witness, and it doesn't make a difference after warning or without a warning. No. Nemakan davar v'nemalahan davar. It says over here, kimatza ba'ervas davar. It says over there, al pishnaim edim ekim yokim davar. Malahan mishnei edim, just like over there is with two witnesses. Avkam mishnei edim, also over here, it's with two witnesses. And when did the Torah believe tuma with eid echad? Is after the husband warning, and there's two witnesses that she was secluded, and one witness is testified she was come to Amei. That's what you were saying before. Sheraglaim ledava, because there's indicating features, which in the first paragraph of Gimel, the Gemara asks, but what do you mean? Actually, when it talks about the Torah Kinu, it's actually after the halacha of the pasuk v'nitma ve'eid eimba, and the Gemara answers, but it's going on what was before. The warning was before. So with a warning and seclusion, and then when someone says, I saw bimazana, that's when we believe eid echad. But in general, one person coming along, we don't believe it. That's what we needed the Gzeir Shava for. So the Gemara made it sound like it depends on how you translate what kino is. Because on the bottom of Amar Beis, depends if it's a Abba Labruach Kina. Do people know? Do people not know? Are they going to be upset, or they're not going to be upset because she's not talking with people? Why? You mean to say because it's not really so much regarding him knowing, it's regarding us knowing that there was already, we probably think that she must have been Mizana because her husband warned her, and she was secluded. It seems to be pretty off, or, that it was indicating. No, but it's not about the Eid Echad per se. He's just coming along and saying, I saw. We're going to believe him, says the Torah, because a lot of flags on the field already, like they say. So that's what we need a Gzeir Shava for. Now, the Mishnah had said, regarding all these cases, regarding Eid Oymen Nitmis, we said the first case was if one witness says that she became Tamei, another witness contradicts and says she did not become Tamei. So we said, okay, that she's going to drink. Says the Gemara, Taima the Kamachishle, sounds like, okay, the reason why she's going to drink is because even though you have one witness saying that she was Matame, was because you have another witness saying that she was not Matame. So they cancel each other out. But if, let's say, you don't have the second Eid Echad contradicting the first one, Eid Echad Mehemen, you would believe 1/8, which Rashi points out right away. The Gemara could have just said it from the Reish of the Mishnah, which explicitly said, Echad Oymer Ani Rasisha Nitmis, if one witness says, I saw that she became Tamei, Lo Hisha Sheish, she wanted to drink. Obviously, we believe one witness. Rashi says, yes, but we wanted to ask on this, that, okay, so if you believe 1/8, so what does it help when you have 1/8 being contradicting him? But the Torah believes that 1/8 that says she became Tamei like 2. And that would be that the one who's contradicting is 1, and you don't believe 1 in the place of 2. That's why we're stelling it over here. But really, you don't have to be medayik. That was explicitly a halacha in the Mishnah that said clearly you believe 1/8 regarding Tumah. We're just stelling it over here because we're going to want to ask, says, whoa, wait a second. You're saying without the guy being machish, you would believe the Eid Echad. So, first the Gemara gets off on the tangent and says, wait a second. Where do we know this from? That we believe the Eid Echad for the place of 2 witnesses. Says the Gemara, I'll tell you where we know it from. The Tana Rabban, like we learned in the Braisa. Pasuk says that ve'eid ein ba. The pasuk that we mentioned before, b'shacha b'shayisa shechlazera, a man's going to lay with her, laying carnally, v'nil mein isha, she's going to be hidden from her husband's eyes. V'nistacha, she's going to be secluded. V'nitma, she's going to become tamei. And it says, if you read the whole pasuk, basically, the pasuk makes it sound very clearly, even though the words ve'eid ein ba seem to contradict that. The pasuk seems to be clearly telling us a problem that she's going to become aser. The whole pasuk, she wasn't forced. The whole pasuk sounds like she's going to be problematic. But the words ve'eid ein ba sound like as if, oh wait, there's no witnesses. But the pasuk clearly telling me that that's a reasoning, a rationale to say what she's going to be aser. So the Gemara explains. Says the Braisa, b'shnayim hakas medaber. What the pasuk is saying is, when I'm telling you ve'eid ein ba means to say there's no 2 witnesses, but there's the 1. Oh, and she wasn't forced, and she was able to tell me, and she was good. Oh, she become asla ba'ala. Says the Gemara, Atoim b'shnayim, is that really so? That the pasuk is saying that there's no two witnesses? Maybe it's even telling me that no, there's not even one witness. So Tamalema, that says the Gemara. Elsewhere, it more Myrich and says, wait a second, how could it be Asr then if it says there's no witness at all? But here the Gemara goes straight to the point. It says Tamalema, it says the pasuk in the Vachim, it says it says that no one witness could stand up and testify against a man. You need to have two witnesses. Now, the problem with that pasuk is there's a different pasuk. And the fact that it says that in the singular, loyakum aid beish, so any dish or echad, don't I know that it's one? Aid is singular. Why do you have to say the word echad? Echad. Zebanaav. So there's a building block to teach you aid, wherever the Torah says aid, it's a singular unit of aid. Harikan shnayim, which said two witnesses. Tells you the word echad to say aid echad. That's one. But the word aid itself actually means two. Oh, so therefore, Vamarachman Torah is telling me in this pasuk, going back to our sugya of Sotah, when it says ve'id nitma ve'aid einbad, what does aid mean? Aid means two. Aid einbad means today less bad. There's no two. But there's one. And the pasuk tells me behiloi nitfas, and she wasn't forced, she wasn't raped, she wasn't coerced, and she was mezana. Surah, then she's going to be forbidden. So you see that a single witness is believed. That's the source for the halacha that Eid Echad is believed that she was nitma. Now the problem now goes, and this was all just hakdama to introduce our question. The key, even the Midrash say I now understand. Since you tell me that biblically that one Eid is believed, so idach now regarding the other singular witness, how could he go now refute that first witness who says that she was mitame? But Ula says, wherever the Torah believes one witness, we believe that one witness as if he's two, because we know in all halacha you need to have two witnesses. The Torah is essentially telling you that one aid is like two. Now the problem is, you don't believe one in the place of two. So here, the Torah tells you distinctly only for that a woman was mazan, that was matame, that you believe one aid like he's two. So when one aid says that she was matame, one aid says she wasn't, that's really two against one. So how could you believe the other one to cancel out the one that says she's matame and let her drink? Why is she drinking? You tell me she drinks because he says yes, he says no, we cancel them out. Okay, going back to the suffix. So she drinks the water. It's not. It's two against one. Well, two against one. No, because we believe that one, as if he's two, that she was mazana. So why are you saying that she'll drink? So says the Gemara, Lama Ulo, he says you're right. So now you have to amend the teaching of the Mishnah. Loi, haisa shaisa. Faket, you're right. When you have one saying she was matama, one saying she was not matama, she's not going to drink. Why is she not going to drink? You have two witnesses, not two, one. No, it's two witnesses saying she was mazana. We believe in like two. And when two says she was mazana, there's no drinking going on. I don't care one says not. The one is bottled to the two. Rabbi Yitzchak says, Loi haisa shaisa, she wouldn't drink. That's Ula and Rabbi Yitzchak. But Rabbi Chiyama, he maintains the gears that we have in our Mishnah. He says, no, haisa shaisa, she would drink. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Chiyah, kasha de Ula. What do you do with Ula's teaching? Since the Torah believed the Eid Echad, so obviously the Torah is establishing he is like two. If he's like two, then how could Rabbi Chiyah say, in the halacha of our Mishnah, that one against one will cancel each other out and that she will drink? So says the Gemara, Leikash, not difficult. Kan, in the Mishnah that's saying that they will contradict each other and cancel each other out, is bevas achas. And Tais discusses this in length, but when both of them testify terkidei dibur, like few seconds after the other one, so that nullifies the first person's words right away because his testimony was never verified in court. When did the Torah believe that one aid like two is, for example, to be testified and he left court, where now one aid cannot contradict him anymore? But when it's happening at the same time, we didn't believe you yet like two. You're still one person, and you're one person. Okay, and we throw you both out, and we're back to the suffix. When did Ula say that we believe you like two, and that we're not going to believe the one place to do is bezachazeh, one after the other? When this guy already did his thing, and then the other one comes, then we're not going to believe the second one. And therefore, it's not a difficulty for Reb Chiya's Girs in our Mishnah that she would drink because it happened at the same time. Problem was, the Gemara asked the following question, none from our Mishnah. Mishnah has another case that says, Eid oimer nitmis. If one witness says, this is where it gets a little bit complicated. If one witness says that she became tummy, right? Remember, the one who says that become tummy means that she's not supposed to drink. Mazana, there's no point in drinking. Ushnayim oimer loy nitmis, and two say she was not mazana, at least not when we were together. So we are back to the suffix. So this, what is the meaning that she should drink? Says the Mishnah, she would drink, which makes sense, right? Because two are saying she was not mazana, at least not in front of us, so we don't know. Maybe she was mazana some other time. She still had a warning, she still was secluded. So the Mishnah says she would drink. Says the Gemara. Well, anyways, even if the Eidech was like two, you would still say two against two. But even if it was different time, it'd still be like two. Two are saying that she was not mazana. Even if you believe the one that she was mazana. No, we were together. We were together at the same time. They're telling the one aid we were together at the same time. And even if not, even if it's different times, then they wouldn't. No, in the Chanami, it's got to be something. That wouldn't be contradiction. 100%. So says the Gemara, Hachad v'chad, but the diuk says the Gemara. You're telling me that if you have two saying that she was not mezana, you have one saying that she was mezana. Okay, then you believe the two. That okay, she will be able to drink. But if you have one against one, obviously you're telling me loy haisa shaisa, that she wouldn't be drinking. That's what you must have taught in the Reisha, because as Rashi explains, if you have the Gisa of Rabbi Chia, that one against one she drinks. So what do I need to have? If one will contradict the one who says that she is matame, do I need to tell you when two are contradicting that she was not matame? Obviously, that you don't believe one against two, and the Mishnah and the Seifa obviously is telling me for the diuk, and that's why it's saying the halacha to tell me nalik Reb Chia, because if it's coming to tell me the halacha itself, well, obviously I don't need to tell you that we believe two against one. So it must be because it's coming to tell me, but if it was one against one, then you would not drink. Well, why wouldn't you drink? Because you believe the one who said that she was tamei like two, and that ein dvar shalechem makom shnayim that way. So that you see clearly, says the Gemara Tifet Reb Chia, that's a refutation of Reb Chia, who says that no, she will drink even one against one. Says the Gemara, Reb Chia would tell you no. According to your reasoning, that you hold that the Mishnah's halacha itself is unnecessary, because that's obvious that we wouldn't believe the one who says that she was matame in place of the two who says that she was not matame, and the whole halacha is only said for the diuk to say. But if there was one said that she was matame and one saying that she was not matame, then you would believe the one that says that she was matame. Then Ema Seifa, look a little further in the Mishnah. Mishnah says Shnayim Oimrim Nitmis. If two say that she was mezana, the Echadam Eloy Nitmis, one says that she was not mezana. What does the Mishnah tell us? Okay, Loisa Shaisa, that obviously she wouldn't drink, because that's obvious. Two against one, and the two are saying that she was mezana. So obviously she's not going to drink. Now, what dig are you going to say over there? You want to be medag, then obviously, and that's unnecessary, obviously, to say, that you would tell me, chad b'chad, but if it was one against one, haisa shaisa. That contradicts the dig you want to say, obviously, that she would drink, because you're telling me two are saying she was matame. Then she's not going to drink. But if one was saying that she was matame, then she would drink. So obviously, says Reb Chia, the Mishnah is not coming to tell us diyukim, because they're contradictory. Rather, it's coming to tell us the halachas themselves. But what's the necessity of saying the halacha itself? It seems obvious. You don't say one in place of two. So this is where he opens up a whole new window. He says, Ella, rather, kula b'psuli edus. This that the Mishnah had to tell us, a case of two against one, was by psuli edus. For example, if those two are not men, generally for testimony you have to have two adult men. We're talking about where they were women or slaves that are generally possible for edus. That's where I have to tell you the halacha of two against one. Again, this is where it gets a little complex, the gap jumping. The Gemara was assuming that we're talking about regular testimony. So the Gemara was asking a question from a diuk on Reb Chia. Reb Chia says, don't come to me from diuk, because I'll bring you one of the other cases that the diuk would. The case seems to be unnecessary also, because two against one is obvious. It must be the dig of one against one, but that contradicts your dig of one against one. So don't ask on me because then the Mishnah itself is difficult. So then what do we do? So okay, it's not for diukim. So but the halach itself is obvious. So Rabbi says, I'll explain to you. The Mishnah is not as simplistic as it seems. It's a specific case of psuli edus. That the 2 against 1 is that those 2 are actually invalid witnesses. And Reb Nechemia, it's going like Reb Nechemia. The time like learn the Brisa. Nechemia, he says, Kol Malkum Shemin the Torah Eid Echad, wherever the Torah believes one witness. So obviously the Torah is removing this category of testimony from all testimony that's written in the Torah. And therefore, since we believe even one aid, we'll even believe those not only that are kosher, but even those that are apostle generally for testimony. And therefore, it's different in another way too. Halach achar reiv deis. We go after the majority of opinions that are testifying. And therefore, and this is important, and the Gemara is going to tweak this in a moment, they considered 2 women against 1 man, 2 men against 1 man. You wanted to know, you were asking me and saying, come on, what does the Mishnah have to tell me when 2 witnesses saying one thing and 1 witness saying something else, that we're going to believe 2 witnesses? We all know that. No, we don't know that necessarily. We have to tell you a big chiddush. We have to tell you that 2 women will be mevatel the words of that Eid Echad, of that single adult male man. And that's both the chiddush in the Reisha and in the Sefer. Which Gemara later on is going to ask, well, why do I have to say the halacha 2 times? You tell me 2 times. When 2 witnesses saying nitmis, and Eid Echad saying loy nitmis, and you have to tell me also when 2 witnesses are saying loy nitmis, and Eid Echad is saying nitmis. Why do I have to say that? You already told me this halacha of we're going to consider the women, they'll have a voice finally, 2 against 1, they'll be able to overpower the man, and you will kill because since it's a psuli eid, it's a chiddush. So that the Gemara is going to ask already. But says Rabbi does zok the Mishnah. Don't ask me for the Mishnah. It's not there to be medayik a 1 against 1. That is no diukum. It's not psuli eid. That's one version. Now the ekadam are those that say slightly different version. Whenever you have originally 1 kosher witness and saying that the woman was metame and his testimony was received, and then afterwards it comes even if 100 women subsequently come, we consider those 100 women like 1 aid, and therefore, like we mentioned before, essentially what that means to say is that it's like 1 against 2, because even though it's 100 against 1, but that 1 we consider like 2, like we said, because and the 100 women, since the apostle, are like 1. So that's very dystopian over there in regards to how to be able to translate what that means, that the 100 women are like 1 and the 1 man is like 2, and she's not going to drink because we believe the man who says that she was tummy. So if that's the case, according to the Sikadami, well, we're back to the question. I thought we don't believe even the 100 women, let alone 2, against the 1 man. Oh, says the Gemara, but what are we talking about over here? That we said that if Eid Echad says that she was tummy, and 2 say she was not tummy, that she would drink, which we explained is talking about B'psuli Eidus, and that's even if it happened at the same time, or even B'zachar Zeh, like Reb Nechemia, because like Rashi explains, we must be saying, because you would say, what's the difficulty? Just say it's B'vasachas. B'vasachas, we say we don't believe it, Eid Echad, when it's going to contradict right away. It says, no, says Rashi. It must be telling me, because even Zachar Zeh, because it was happening at the same time, what's there to go after Reiv Deyos? There's no majority opinions. Even 1 against 1 would cancel and she would drink. So obviously, be going after Reiv Deyos, that the 2 apostle Edis, the 2 women, will cancel out the 1 man, must be talking about B'zachar Zeh. But then the question is, but how does B'zachar Zeh work? You told me, according to the Ekadami at least, that 1 man is like 2 and 100 women is like 1. So when would we believe 2 women over the 1 man? Oh, that must be talking about going to soy isha mekara. That actually the one who originally came was actually a woman. She's the one who said, I saw she was mizana. Now, there in that case, even B'zachar Zeh, 2 other women will be able to come along and mevatel that 1 woman who said that she was matame. Because v'toltzi Reb Nechemia hachi. You have to translate Reb Nechemia's halacha like this. In other words, this that we had said, that we're going to make 2 women against 1 man to be believed, that says Rashi, that was not the end of Reb Nechemia's teaching. That was how the Gemara originally explained it, because someone explained like that. But according to this version, Rabbi Shloimy did not say that we believe 2 women against 1 man. No, you have to translate. Rabbi Shloimy says, wherever the Torah believes 1 aid, halach acharev doyis, you go after the majority of opinions, and v'aster shtei nashim be'isha achas, not be'ish. They made 2 women against 1 woman, krishnei anoshim be'ish echad, the way you have 2 men against 1 man. But you're right, according to this ikadamri, shtei nashim be'ish echad, 2 women against 1 man, ki palgul palgudami, is like 50-50. In other words, it's like 1 against 1. And therefore, says Rashi, if they came at the same time, so there's 1 man saying she was, let's say, nitmas. You have 2 women saying she was not nitmas. Okay, then you would say they would cancel each other out, and they would be back to the suffix, and she would drink pasha because they cancel each other out. But if it's bezeh chazeh, and the one that the Torah believed came first, he's like 2. The 100 women or 2 is like 1, and then you wouldn't believe them in place of him. Now, where 2 are saying that she is nitmis, and 1 kosher witness is saying that she was not nitmis, then we say that she's going to drink, because that's like chad v'chad. It's like 1 against 1. And our Mishnah that said that in such a case she's not going to drink is talking about where that one was puzzle. That was a woman. And if 2 women against 1 woman, then they win her. But 2 women against 1 man, that's like 50-50. So that's the critical point that's changing here in the Ikeda Amri, that's saying that no, you're right, we don't believe the women against the man, only let's say what's happening at the same time. We don't, and therefore it must be talking about the first one that was the Eid Echad that says Nitmis was a woman. And then we go after Reb Deyos, even Bezeh Chazeh, and the 2 women that say that she was not Nitmis are going to be believed in place of that woman. But the Gemara ends off this sugya by a question we had alluded to earlier. The Tarti b'psuli edis lamali. Why does the Mishnah have to tell me 2 times that you go achar Reb Deyos? Meaning we have 2 cases where the 1 aid is saying one way and the 2 aids are saying the other way. Either the Eid Echad said nitmis and the 2 witnesses are saying loy nitmis, or the Eid Echad said loy nitmis and the 2 witnesses are saying nitmis. And you're telling me, okay, we're not talking about men, it's only women, at least according to the Ikadamri, according to the first verse, even a man. But the point is, you have 1 woman saying one way, and even if we believe her, 2 women, even though generally it doesn't make a difference how many numbers of witnesses there are, we believe 2, and 2 is like 100, and less than 2 is nothing. So it doesn't make a difference what the numbers is. By B'suli Eidis, it makes a difference, because there are only men usually believe women. When there is, we care, it's 99 against 98, the team 99 wins. That's how it works by B'suli Eidis. It's very different than regular halacha. We allow pesulim, we consider 1 like 2, and then therefore Rav days, the majority of opinions will matter. But then why do you have to say it in 2 different cases? Just tell me the halacha that we will go after Rav days. Why have to say both ways? It says Gemara, what would you say Rav days? When do we go after the majority of opinions? Is only lechumra, stringently, meaning to require her to drink, to cancel out the one who's saying that she was telling me that she cannot drink. Then we'll go lechumra. But to go leniently, in other words, to make it easier for her, that she should not drink, to go after the ones who are saying that she was nitmis, those 2 are saying nitmis, to cancel out the one who says that she was not nitmis, loy azlinan, then you wouldn't go maybe after majority of opinions by psuli edis. So therefore, when 2 women are saying that she was nitmis, and one is saying that she was not nitmis, since there is any word of a contradiction, I would say maybe make that one regarding those 2 to cancel out. And maybe I would make it back to the suffix. And maybe I would say, no, she has to drink. Because this I go after Reb days, maybe it's only as a chumrah, but not as a kula to make her not have to drink. That's what I have to tell you, even the case of going after Reb days, even in the case of, yes, when 2 are saying that she's nitmis, and 1 is saying that she's not nitmis, even then we're going to go after Reb days to say that, yes, they said she was metamadif, but she's not going to drink, which the Gemara is calling that a kula, that she doesn't have to drink the waters, and therefore we have to tell it to both ways, which Taisus wonders from other places that seems to be clearly on this, but al kaponim, that's what the Gemara is saying is the chiddush why to say both ways. Hadnach mishakini, which return to the 6th parak, which we did in 1 daf, a parak mishakine that spoke about this halacha of kinun stira and the tumah regarding how many people are necessary to be believed, and what happens when you have contradictory witnesses in regards to if she was metame or not. Thank you to any time. Those things.